Hi everyone, I'm Lottie and today we are going to do a Pilates routine for your lower back. So just some low back love for a healthy spine. The main focus here is going to be on alignment and stability, and then we're going to do a little bit of mobility but not anything crazy, kind of working into full range, just a little bit to get you finding a little bit of ease of movement, but also mainly just focusing on control and strengthening around your spine and around your hips, and a few little stretches at the end as well. So this is going to be really good for you if you're feeling just a little bit icky in that lower back. And I hope you enjoy it and I hope you feel good. Obviously take it at your own pace and level, and if anything doesn't feel right for you, you know your body, just ease out of it. But let's get started. So you're going to need some cushions or a towel. So not a big cushion. You want kind of like more of a thin cushion like these. This is like a Pilates cushion, but don't worry if you don't have those. You can use a rolled up towel or anything, just anything, a little bit of extra padding. So you might want to have one of those for your head. But we're also going to use one for between the legs as well to start with. So let's start by laying down on our backs. So just coming around. We're just going to start with some pelvic floor, some core stability, some pelvic floor and deep abdominals, and a few exercises for the spine. So we're going to pop that cushion between our legs. So I've folded mine in half just to make it a little bit bigger. So you want it about the width of like a tennis ball, kind of, between the knees. So the feet are a bit narrower. We're going to let our body just settle for a moment here. And we want to make sure that the back of the neck is long. So if you feel like your chin is kind of poking up, your head's resting down like that, you then probably need a cushion. You might need two, you might need a few more. So you just want to make sure that you've got your tips of the ears in line with your shoulders, and you've got that lovely long back of the neck. So your chin is doing like a little bit of a chin tuck. And we're just going to make sure that we're nice and open across the chest. And we're going to just breathe in through the nose into the sides of the rib cage and breathe out. So really important that we let go of any tension. Sometimes pain can create tension in the body, sort of unnecessary, unwanted tension. So let's just let go of that a minute. Let's just feel ourselves melting into the floor like sand, like all of the body is like sand, kind of melting into the floor, melting away. And then just imagine your knees are sort of being held up by little strings to the ceiling, and then just drop the thigh bones into the hip joints. So that feeling, that imagery of them kind of dropping down, releasing the hips. And then we're just going to do a little pelvic floor exercise. So we're going to inhale, and when we breathe out, we're going to just feel a sense of the front and back and in coming up. So you want to squeeze the cushion, and I want you to just hold that pelvic floor for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you're going to let it go completely. And again, so we're going to breathe in to prepare. Breathe out. Feel a little bit of tone in the pelvic floor, a sense of kind of like scooping in and up. Squeeze your cushion and hold for 5, and just breathe. 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Completely release every time, so we're not holding too much tension. I feel a bit wonky on my mat, so just make sure you're not wonky. Everything's nicely lined up. So this time, let's feel a little bit more deep abdominal connection. So we're going to breathe in, breathe out, pelvic floor, squeeze the cushion, draw the navel towards the spine, and hold. Breathe, and release. Okay, so I quite like the cushion between the thighs. It sort of helps me feel a deeper connection to the center. Feeling the back and the front coming towards each other, the sides of the hip bones coming in and through the center coming up, and release. So let's pop that cushion to one side. Let's try and keep that sense of stability. And we're going to take leg slides. So arms down by your side. You're going to breathe in. As you breathe out, slide one leg along the floor. Now you might want to move the mat out of the way so that you can slide your foot a bit easier and then slide it back in. So you've found that pelvic floor deep abdominal connection. You don't want to lose it now. I'm lifting my head, but don't lift your head. Just want you to try and just feel that there's no wobbling in the pelvis as the leg slides away. And then coming back up and in. So these first set of exercises we're doing is all about stability. Now we obviously do want mobility. We don't want to be stuck and stable, kind of stiff the whole time. But it's just about trying to understand it to begin with, and understand that we can move, but we can also find stability and control, and then we want to be able to move with that stability and control. So this is just going to be really simple leg slides. Your foot stays in contact with the floor, but we're not tipping. Now, what's going to want to happen maybe if you're really weak in your lower back and in your core is as your leg slides away, the pelvis is going to be pulled into what we call an anterior tilt, into that arch of your spine. So that's what we want to try and avoid. So when the leg slides, just really check that that's not happening. So you even want to maybe feel about doing a little bit of the opposite of what wants to happen to kind of counterbalance the pull. Good, so we're going to take it into a little thigh arc or a knee fold. So taking your foot off the floor now is going to add an extra challenge. We're going to float one leg and then bring it down. So we're starting really simple just to make sure we've got that lovely alignment and stability. So this is also nice to release the hip. I want you to think that thigh bone dropping into the hip joint. So try not to pinch and grip at the hip flexor, but float from the thigh up and then down. Try and maintain a sense of relaxation across the shoulders, the jaw. You want to make sure there's not a gap under your rib cage here, so push down through the back of the ribs, really working on that spinal alignment. We're going to find that sense of lift through the center as we float the leg and down. We're going to exhale to float. Inhale, down. Exhale, float. Inhale, down. One more on each side. So a few of these exercises, this routine every day, be really good for a healthy back. And float that leg down. Good, we're going to come onto all fours now. So just turn onto your side. Use your arms just to push yourself up and move yourself around to all fours. We're still working on stability. So we're going to come into a little rocking action. So actually, we're going to use the cushion again. We're going to pop it between your thighs here. So roll your cushion up or just pop it there. And then just come to an all fours position. So we're going to do a little rocking. So hands under the shoulders, spread the fingers wide. I want you to feel a little lift under the rib cage. So like you were laying on your back, it's kind of like, that's the alignment you want to feel. Little kind of puddle in the lower back, tailbone lengthening away, sit bones lengthening away, head reaching forwards. Find that length, and we're going to keep that as we rock. We're going to do a little rocking. So a little bit of movement into the hip joints. We're maintaining stability in the spine, and we're rocking forwards and back. We're going to inhale, exhale, rock. Inhale forwards. Exhale, rock. Inhale forwards. Keep that neck long, keep the lift under the ribs. Easing into those hips. Keep that neutral. Try not to tuck under. We want to keep stability in your lower back. We've got 4 more. Lift under the ribs for 3. Crown of head reaches forwards. Try and keep that space. So think about, as you rock back, about your sit bones moving away from the crown of your head and your crown of head moving away from your sit bones, the bones that you sit on. Last 2. I can feel when I kind of think about that, I actually don't go as fast, and maybe I was tucking a bit before. The last one. So all these little things really help. I can feel that in my hip flexor. So it looks really simple, but these are really good exercises for you. So rest off your wrists whenever you need to. We're going to just work a little bit of stability in the shoulders and the thoracic spine. So actually, let's take the cushion away. And we're going to just take the right arm out in front. Now, maybe it's just going to reach for the floor, or maybe it's going to float up by the ear. Nothing else moves. You're working your stability. We bring the hand back down. Slide the other arm. Now, you might feel yourself shifting quite a lot to start with, but as you practice and you do these exercises, you build more awareness and control. You'll hopefully have minimal movement. And if you're really wobbling, just don't take your hand off the floor. Just keep it in contact and then coming down. So that's kind of like a good rule. If you feel really wobbly and unstable, just always keep yourself touching the mat. Don't float everything around and do lots of wild things. Just keep it all nice and in contact. But you can still get a little bit of movement. Try not to shift really hard. And we're going to do our arm and leg float now. So let's go back to that start. Touch the floor, slide the other leg along the floor. Now again, that might be where you are today, and you come back in. And then you do the other side. You keep in contact. We keep lengthening the head away from the tailbone. We keep lifting through. We're supporting the back. And then if you're feeling like you can, you will float up. So the arm will lift, the leg will lift without anything else moving. And again, you might feel quite wobbly to begin with, and then we'll build up that stability. Bring it down, bring it in. Slide, lift. Good. And then we'll do one more on each side. So as soon as you're getting fatigued and tired, then you want to rest and come out of it, because there's no point doing these exercises if you're just not really thinking about them and you're kind of just rushing through them. The whole idea is the precision and the awareness of your movement. So let's come on to the front. We're going to do a dart, and then we're going to do some knee folds. So we're still kind of working on stability. We're starting to get a little bit of mobility now, but we're focusing on extension rather than flexion. We spend most of our day in a flexed position where we're cut forwards. Yeah, we're in that sort of slump forwards position most of our day. So we need to just try and get a little bit of counteracting. So if this feels okay for you, you're coming onto your front. Now, if you tend to have, again, quite a kind of weak lower back, you can always pop, or more of a mobile lower back, you can pop a cushion under your hips, or a towel, a rolled up towel. So that can feel quite nice to sort of ease into more of a lengthened position through the spine. We're going to bring the legs together. You can even pop a little cushion between your thighs as well, which is going to help feel a little bit of glute work and hip work. So we're here on the front. We're going to do our dart. So we're going to come into just a small extension. We're going to rotate, and we're coming up just the upper back. And we're coming down. We need to feel a light sense of work, kind of like that pelvic floor lift, the navel to spine. Support the lower back as you come up. Just a small dart. Just got 6 of these. So we're just starting to get a little bit of extension, a little bit of movement in the thoracic. Sometimes when we have lower back pain, it's because there's restricted movement somewhere else. So that could be the hips, it could be the hamstrings, it could be the thoracic spine, which is the middle back. So if we try and get some more movement in those areas, that can help the lower back, maybe, hopefully. Just kind of giving it a little try and seeing how it feels in the body. Last one. So we're trying to get that little bit of thoracic extension. And then we're coming down. Good. Okay, we're gonna come onto our side and we're gonna come into some rotation, a little bit of rotation. So both cushions down. We're gonna come onto our side. We're gonna have the arms one on top of the other, the legs stacked up in a right angle, the head resting on the cushions. You might want a few more just to kind of lift your head and your neck a little bit more in line. What I might do actually is bend that one up. So it's a bit more, yeah, that's better. So we're gonna find a little lift underneath the waist. And we're going to just reach the top arm forwards. And then we're gonna lift it up. We're gonna look towards that hand. And then we're gonna rotate a little bit, not fast. So you don't want the arm to kind of fall back out of your eye line. And then we're gonna come back. And then we're gonna come down. So we're staying stable through the pelvis. So it's funny because a lot of this kind of low back love, I think, is about finding more control and stability in that area. And then we can start to move it a little bit more. So we'll do a few stretches at the end that are going to move it a little bit more, but just making sure that we keep it supported. And this is getting, again, that thoracic mobility. Really important that we continue to allow the thoracic part of the spine to move. Stabilize the pelvis. We've got one more. Reach forwards through the arm. I forgot that time. Lift up, look to the hands, and then rotate. And don't go too far. And then come back. So let's do that on the other side. Just gently push yourself up on the side. Move over, transition. And coming down. Again, I'm gonna roll the top one up so my head is more in line with my neck. My legs are nicely up in a right angle. My arms are out in front. We're gonna reach through the top arm. Lift it, look towards the hand, into that little opening. And then back. And then again, reach it forwards. You wanna make sure, that your spine is neutral. So it's that lengthen the sit bones again. I know I've said it lots. Lengthen the sit bones, the tailbone, away from the head. Constantly try and create length rather than bunching up. And just make sure you're not holding tension in your neck, but let the head fall back into the cushion. I think we've got one more. Both sides of the waist long. And then we've got the hamstring curls, actually. Good work, guys. So from there, let's come back onto our front. Gently come around. You can rest your head on those cushions, or you can just have your hands just resting down, maybe in front, just let the head rest on the cushions. Just make sure you're in a comfy position. Obviously, I'm going to be talking to you, so I'm not going to worry too much about my upper body, but just make sure you're in a nice, neutral, comfy position. Again, you can pop the cushion under the pelvis if that helped before. And then we're going to do a little hamstring curl. So check your rib cage, flex your right foot, don't move your back, and just curl the heel towards the bottom and away. And the other side, flex your left, curl the heel in. Now I want you to think about your thigh reaching away and down. Okay, 4 on each side. Reach, flex, in, heel to bottom, reach the thigh away and down. So think about keeping your pelvis still and lengthening your low back. Don't let it go into the lower back. Reach through the front of the thigh and back. 2 more. Flex, fold it in. Keep lengthening your lower back. reach the thigh away. Flex the other foot. In. Reach the thigh away. One more on each side. Flex. You want to feel the hamstring and glutes contracting. Reach the front of the hip away. Flex. Thigh in. So as my heel comes in, my knee is going the other way. So I feel a stretch in my hip. And reach, keep that stretch. Good. Okay, we're coming onto our back. So just a few reps of each is kind of enough because you really want to stay focused. So if you do too many, you'll probably lose your focus. So let's do a little stretch. So we're going to bring our legs up. Now, bringing your legs all the way off the floor might be a little bit too much. So hold on. You can always do this with one foot still on the floor. Remember, always keep one foot on the floor if you're feeling really not secure in that back. Or both legs are going to come up if you're feeling happy to do that. And we're going to hug one knee in as we exhale and then back to the center. Hug the other knee in and then back. So we're doing like a little stretch for the lower back, kind of like a little rock. So this is getting a little bit of movement now in that low back. We're just kind of more like kind of stretching between the vertebrae in the lower back. Your tailbone reaches away and kind of tucks up. Alternate sides. And then try both at the same time. Hug and release. So it's kind of like a little pelvic rock. Definitely don't lift your bottom up, but think more about stretching your lower spine. Hug your knees in and think your tailbone stretches around. You create that space. Hug them in. Release those hips. Use that breath. One more. Stretch those knees in. Stretch the tailbone away. And release. We're going to pop the feet down. We've got the last exercise. We're going to bring our feet wide. We're going to do a little bit of a knee roll, a hip roll. The pelvis is going to get involved. We've got a little bit of rotation in that lower back. So the feet are wide. We roll the right knee open, the left knee in. The pelvis will react. Do not let everything go now. It's going to be really tempting to sort of pop everything out and let it go, but keep your control. Pull back from the pelvis and then the knees. Let the knees and the thighs fall. Let the pelvis go with you a little bit. And then pull back. So we're getting a bit of a stretch in our hips, our lower spine, our thighs. But nice and gentle. Pull back from the pelvis. Still work through the pelvic floor and center. The thighs move over. So as you can see now, we're getting a little bit of movement, but we're still really thinking about the control. So maybe don't even go to your full rate. If you think you can kind of go like that, maybe just don't do that. Keep it smaller and think about more awareness, more length, more ease of movement, more control. And then you can just gently increase the mobility. One more to each side. Let the thighs go, let the pelvis go, and then come back, pelvis and then the legs. Don't be scared of the movement. Just breathe into it. And bring it back to the center. Bring the legs together, turn onto your side, and gently push yourself up. Well done, guys. So they were a few exercises that are really lovely for your lower back. It's a calming sequence. I hope that you enjoyed it and I hope that you're feeling really good. And I will see you again in a Pilates routine soon. Thank you so much. Bye.